In 2017, we found out how an international business mogul would run America. The seventh biggest story of the year is Trump on the world stage.
Drive them out. Drive them out of your places of worship. Drive them out of your communities. Drive them out of your holy land. And drive them out of this earth.
Donald Trump today delivered a speech in Saudi Arabia to some 50 representatives of Muslim-majority countries, calling on them to fight terrorism in their countries. And although he did mention Islamic extremists and Islamic terror, the president did not use the phrase radical Islamic terrorism, which is interesting considering what he said as a candidate.
Anyone who cannot condemn the hatred, oppression, and violence of radical Islam lacks the moral clarity to serve as our president.
It's great to have Trump lecture Muslims. Next, Mel Gibson lectures Jews, or have Paula Deen and David Duke lecturing Black Lives Matter.
Donald Trump had what the cheeky folks over at Slate called his first big boy trip. He took his nationalist rhetoric on the road on a 9-day world tour that concludes today in Italy. Now, of course, it was the bigly best trip ever.
Just so you understand, I never mentioned the word or the name Israel. Never mentioned it during that conversation.
they call that for pizza. What do you give him to eat? Is it
Congratulations, great job.
Thank you very much.
Now, despite all that absolute awesomeness that you just saw, somehow Trump's first big global adventure is not being viewed in general as a success. Perhaps for no reason more than what he failed to say at NATO headquarters in Brussels while standing beside the new 9/11 and Article 5 memorial, a tribute both to the lives lost in the terrorist attack and to NATO invoking Article 5 for the first and only time ever in its history in support of us. Despite that not so subtle reminder of how vital NATO's mutual defense pledge is, Trump did not do what every other American president has done since NATO's inception: give a full, public, full-throated, and unequivocal endorsement of that mutual defense agreement. And that is a problem. Bigly.
See, I'm dumbfounded. I can barely say anything. The trip to NATO was an absolute positive disaster. And I'm saying that as a former warfighter. Vladimir Putin won on that trip.
He also shoved the representative from Montenegro, who just resisted Vladimir Putin and joined NATO, which was sort of awkward. I think we have the video of that right there. Right, just shoved him out of the way, which is weird.
The incompetence goes so deeply, it's astounding.
They say it was Russia. Why won't you agree with them and say it was?
I'll tell you, let me just start off by saying, I heard it was 17 agencies. I said, boy, that's a lot. Do we even have that many? You were invaded yet again, this time by Nazi Germany from the West and the Soviet Union from the East. That's trouble. The fundamental question of our time is whether the West has the will to survive.
Donald Trump wraps up his second big appearance on the world stage today, and amid the expected Trump gaffes and attacks on the press, the main event was Trump's first official meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin after this unanswered question.
Are you ready for the election hacking?
Thank you very much. Today, we finally acknowledge the obvious, that Jerusalem is Israel's capital.
Trump announced Wednesday his controversial plan to relocate the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, upending decades of U.S. foreign policy and drawing criticism from parts of the world that are not usually in much agreement, including the Vatican, the Kremlin, Turkey, Jordan, and more, who believe the move will lead to massive unrest in the region. The status of Jerusalem is perhaps the most sensitive and contentious issue in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Both the Palestinians and the Israelis claim Jerusalem as their capital. The city contains sites that are sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims.
This has been our goal from Israel's first day. President Trump, thank you for today's historic decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
Rula, I think there is no sort of clearer picture of the U.S. having cleanly taken sides than what you just saw.
There's no more peace process. The peace process has been dead for a while.
This is a serious mistake. The Trump administration now has a high bar to overcome. If they're arguing that this step was taken in pursuit of advancing the peace process or advancing stability in the region.
God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the Palestinians. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much.